Nothing in this report impugns the integrity of our workforce as a whole or the FBI as an institution.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine two FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them.
So General Flynn was the National Security Advisor for then candidate Trump, and then he transitioned to be the National Security Advisor for a very limited period at the start of the administration. It was about a month. He resigned, and he ultimately pled guilty to lying to FBI investigators about his contacts with the Russian ambassador, Sergei Kislyak. And over the next 3 years, there's been this tension between whether Flynn would be sentenced to prison time for a violation of what's called 18 U.S.C. 1001, so lying to federal agents. But then sort of the twist and turn in this is that General Flynn sought to withdraw his plea on the basis that he didn't have all of the evidence that the government was required to provide to his defense team. And then he also alleged that he was pressured into this guilty plea in part because he was trying to shield or protect his son from prosecution. And we're where we are today because Attorney General Bill Barr tasked a U.S. attorney outside of Washington, D.C. to do a review of the Flynn criminal case and to specifically look at whether the government had met what's called their Brady requirements. So the government had provided all the records to Flynn that might be helpful in his defense. And in the last few days, some of these records have now been presented to a federal court. And as you mentioned on Wednesday, they were just unsealed, and we're learning new things about this Flynn interview with the FBI on January 24th, 2017. And what you're seeing right now is a transcript of what I think is the most newsworthy element of these records, and it's these handwritten notes. They're so faded, they're very hard to read, and based on the court record today, they've been enhanced so people could develop a transcript. And based on the notations, these notes were taken on the same day that General Flynn was interviewed by the FBI. And the part of those notes, Tanya, that's going to get the most attention is a section that comes under the heading of afterwards. And it says, what is our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired? And we don't know who the author is of these notes, but that's pretty loaded language from people within the FBI whose job it was at that time to investigate whether Flynn had lied about these contacts with the Russian ambassador.
Explosive new court documents suggest that former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn was set up. Who he was set up by? Jim Comey.
I sent them.
Handwritten notes unsealed late tonight show the FBI discussed using their January 2017 interview with Flynn, quote, to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired. In other words, to entrap him and then ruin his career. And then, of course, later on, get at Trump. Well, the handwritten notes end with this intriguing little snippet. If we're seen as playing games, the White House will be furious. Joining me now is Congressman Devin Nunes, House Intel Committee ranking member, and Sean Davis, co-founder of The Federalist. Congressman, let's start with you. We've seen a lot of abuse over the past 3 years. You've been digging into this and digging into it, but this has to be one of the more egregious abuses of power, given how we know this thing went down now. Your thoughts?
Well, clearly, General Flynn is going to have a civil rights case, and I think it's going to cost the government millions of dollars. Secondly, hopefully there's going to be some prosecutions for this matter, and the judge really has an opportunity here to step in and sanction these lawyers. So, and with all that said, Laura, we brought you this. The House Republicans brought you just a snippet of this information back in 2018. We were mocked. We were told it was a joke. Well, now all of a sudden you realize that what we told you at that time, not only was it true, we didn't even know the half of it. And even right now, you don't even have the half of it. There's more information coming out the rest of this week. So the evidence is continuing to pile up in General Flynn's favor. which is what we told you and what most of us knew I've known General Flynn for nearly 15 years. And to the idea that he would be a Russian agent is preposterous. It's
a disgrace. And the way this whole thing went down, the meeting went down, the interview was billed as just a conversation. Sean, here's what Comey said about that fateful Flynn interview back in 2018.
We placed a call to Flynn, said, hey, we're sending a couple guys over. Hope you'll talk to them. He said, sure. Nobody else was there. They interviewed him in a conference room at the White House Situation Room, and he lied to them. And that's what he's now pled guilty to.
What did he think they were coming over there for?
I don't think he knew. No, we didn't tell him.
Sean, the hubris of Comey. I mean, my blood boils watching him, his manner, his priggish manner there, and his dismissiveness of the rights of an individual. You've been digging into this tonight. Tell us your thoughts.
Right. I think it's clear now that James Comey will go down in history as the most corrupt FBI director in American history. He has had the worst reign. He has destroyed the FBI's reputation through his actions, his arrogance, and his corruption. He has made it more difficult, according to a federal prosecutor I spoke to today, for U.S. attorneys and FBI agents to get convictions across the country. And that will forever be James Comey's legacy, is this corrupt coup that he attempted to run against Donald Trump.
I sent them. I sent them. I sent them.